I'm hanging out there. Still not seeing you. There you are.
Progress.
Let me,
All of yours.
there we go. All right.
Technology is wonderful.
Yeah, well,
That's what it is.
I forgot to shut off my speaker. All right. So we are going to begin with the roll call. Michelle?
Michelle Fitzpatrick, secretary.
Ray Rafferty, Vice Chair.
Ann Schmidt, member.
Larry Dunn, Chair.
Kristen Dante, member.
Giselle Malloy, member.
Tom Olson, member.
Dave Prescott, staff.
And we have a full court today with no attending.
Nope, no one else.
No one else cares. Okay. Moving on to the next, I guess that kind of handles public comment. Oh, no, I do have some public communications. Approval of meetings. The November 25th special meeting, which was, most of us attended that, didn't we?
Oh, that's right.
All-
That was an official meeting, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. And the December minutes. So have you folks read that?
I move we accept both the November 25th and December 2nd, 24 minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Any comments, clarifications? All right, well, without objection, both minutes are approved. Next is public communications. There were I got a memo on the Roberts Rule of Order class on January 30th. I assume everyone got that.
No. Oh, you just got to do the chairman.
Well, Dave, was that supposed to go to all members?
I have no idea.
It said all
They
commission.
handled out of the front office.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yes, on it.
I got one.
Or no. Or
Yeah, we didn't send that out.
No,
So that came from that.
Okay,
John Burt's
So
office.
but everyone didn't, evidently everyone didn't get it.
Who was it from?
It might be from Linda Hilton.
Oh, I don't think so.
Or John Burt.
was it?
Let's see, I have it here.
Y'all think it was.
Well, I got it. No, Jessica McCreary,
Oh, okay.
McCready, yes.
Yeah, all right, so,
And also Lisa Hilton put the first one out, and then Jessica said she'll be sending the link, the Zoom. If you
Okay.
signed up for Zoom, she would be sending the link out.
Is it MCC or MC?
all right, I will send out.
If you forward it to me, I can send it.
Okay.
I can forward it out.
That was ABC. That's so different.
Oh,
This
sorry,
is,
that's different.
Yeah, Robert's Rules and Freedom of Information
all right.
Training,
Yeah, oh, where did it go?
6 p.m. on the 30th
No.
at the Senior Center
From-
or Zoom. I recommend Zoom.
When was it sent out?
It was sent out.
January
on-
1st.
Oh,
Well,
January
Lisa's
1st.
was set out on December 30th,
Oh,
Monday the 30th.
Maybe she forgot to change the.
yeah, I don't think I
No, I
didn't
didn't
get
get
Well,
that.
see, I can't tell who she sent it to because it was a bulk.
Well, yeah, at least usually, she blind copies.
Well,
it.
but- everybody.
Yeah, so I didn't know, so all right, let me send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me, I'll forward it out.
The date is 30th.
The 30th.
30th, yeah.
Is it recommended that we all take it?
It's mandatory.
It's required.
Mandatory.
All right.
Oh, yeah, they better send it to us if it's
Yeah.
mandatory.
Well,
I was about to say.
that's why I brought it.
It's town council mandate.
Yep, yep.
Is this new? Like, apparently
Yes,
so.
it's
This
new.
is new.
Okay.
Wait, Thursday, January 30th.
I'm guessing they've had a lot of problems with people not following.
Not
Robert's
yes,
rules.
okay.
Yes.
So I'm glad I brought that one
On
up.
the
That might
council.
be targeted to one or two people.
I know the
That-
commissions, even.
Let us not speculate.
And I can try.
3 commission meeting.
Well, I'm sure it will be recorded and then I assume one could.
I don't know how they're gonna do
I don't know.
follow-ups.
Yeah, I assume there'll be a
So
follow.
what, who get the details? of it? Well,
It'll, I
Larry,
sent it to
Larry
him.
forwarded me, I'll forward it out
and
tomorrow.
he'll follow it
Okay.
up.
Thank you.
I may or may not.
I think it's a great idea personally, but.
Yeah, I mean, I went and reviewed it myself before I did this. I have a copy somewhere on my computer. The next thing was that I had was Thames River Partnership Letter. Let's see. It's not a letter for action. It's just one that talks about a change in coordinator. That Gene Pillow had retired, et cetera. So I wasn't planning on entering it as a document. other
Who's the new
than,
coordinator?
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, they're looking for a
Oh, they're
volunteer.
asking for, okay.
Yeah.
As a participant, in the past, Larry and I have made presentations to them about like our open space plan a few years ago, and then I've attended a couple other meetings through the BACWAC process with them, because it's run by ECCD generally speaking, but they look to have somebody, and they say that they've done their fair share here over the last years with Gene running the thing. Now they're looking for somebody else to take this on, because there's a lot of other large activities that participate in their mission.
Want me to forward it to them?
Basically what it is, and don't forget the fact that they're having a meeting coming up on January 28th
Yeah, on January 28th.
to discuss next steps going forward.
You don't want to be part of it, don't go to the meeting.
Because you might get drafted. That's
Exactly.
what happens. Or if you're absent, sometimes you
Yeah.
get drafted.
Well, it depends who you are, but
People like us have a tendency to step up.
well, that's why you don't go to meetings. If you know you don't want to do that, just don't go to the meeting.
All right, did you receive any public communications?
I haven't received it.
No, okay. Okay, report of chair. That over here. A bunch of stuff, some of which are in the package and some of which are not. Did send a letter to Attorney Sweeney on the Downs Patterson one as approved by the last meeting we had. I have not received a reply or an acknowledgement of that letter. So,
You might want to follow up with him, because I know he's been away. I did talk to him and gave him the heads up that you guys are gonna send something, so he's like, yeah, that's fine. So you just might want to just send him
a reminder,
yeah.
resend Sweeney letter. Okay. I did send an update to the IT department for the website last month. They have not updated it as of today. It was the new statistics on the percentage of land, et cetera. I sent a reminder to them. Have not heard anything back. So I'll wait a little bit longer before I do my comment to the IT manager, who then said I shouldn't be doing this, but it was like 3 months the last time. So I'll put to myself of IT reminder in 2 weeks. Okay. On 12/3, there was a cross commission meeting of, I guess, the chairs attended. I attended for us. And basically it was an update of I didn't see minutes of meeting come out on that. Did I miss that?
No, they usually they won't come out right away until usually the next one. I don't know why. That's
Okay,
just how they do it.
But that was December 3rd.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, how often do you guys committee chairs meet?
It's been once a year.
Right. There you go.
They have a whole year.
Did you go to last year's meeting?
Okay.
Right.
Yes, they did. Actually,
All right,
they
there
did.
you go.
I would say that, I mean, you were there, right?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good conversation.
Yeah, yes, but I wouldn't say that anything meaningful happened per se,
No,
but
But-
it's just an exchange of
yeah,
positions, et cetera. Now, we did get with the 4 questions. Sounds very religious. So we will recite the 4 questions in different languages. But I have that coming up that later under the POCD, because it was a POC related one. So I guess I have nothing noteworthy to say other than we had a good exchange. That's about it. I did send an email to Mark Berry, which supported his budget and offered our assistance as a conservation commission. I will read his response. I thought it would worthwhile to do that. Hi, Larry. Thank you for your support. Due to the uncertainty of funding for education, the opportunity for funding various initiatives is going to be minimum through the operating and CIP budgets. We're looking at other funding opportunities and have already submitted a change grant application through SECOG to plant 150 trees, primarily in disadvantaged communities. The grant does include a PT tree coordinator position, which would allow us to move forward with some of the goals identified in the CTMP. As you recall, we sent the letter, like I said, it was coming up under the tree section, but we did send a letter as approved. And then we got a response, which is response in the agenda deck. Yeah, okay. Response in the agenda deck, which is kind of like, thanks, but we still think there ought to be a separate commission. So we can talk about that when we get to that section. Those are the items that I have. Let us go around the horn. Tom, why don't we start
The
with you?
big thing I had, I attended, since the last meeting was the Baker Cove Watershed, Committee meeting. And one of the, issues that they've brought up a year ago when we're reviewing all the goals and stuff is that it's been since 2011 when there was initially the Baker Cove, committee was established till now, till into 23. There had been a lot of work done, but how successful has this whole effort been? And as really goes down to water quality. And so one of the things over the course of last year, in the course of 2024, was to go and get some initiatives on water quality, working with the NER folks and other activity and other folks in the along Baker Cove there. And that was fairly successful. And then so what they did, that's kind of what's in your package here, is the pathogen monitoring in Baker Cove watershed. There's the presentation that they made at our meeting. It's included here. I just thought I'd pass that along to you. In advance relative to the, there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
But and at least we're getting some metrics and stuff.
Well, that was it. The key here is metrics.
Yeah.
And is there any thought of when that might happen?
Well, I would say the NER folks, this is one thing I can say, that the NER people have taken this on to some degree because it's literally in their
Right.
backyard.
Yes.
And that I would say that this will continue, but it's all depending on the educational opportunities and who they have on their staff and this type of stuff. It's very fluid over there relative to what research they're working on. And so as of right now, they want to continue. And so I think it's going to continue, but we'll have to wait and see. But we're just monitoring this, we're supporting it, but we did line up to do I'm now committed to making another cleanup effort this
Right.
coming year. It'll probably be in the April timeframe, but we're gonna, after I have to get back to them here, in the next month or two and come up with a date and what focus areas. I'm gonna probably I'm gonna be out of country for the next couple of weeks, and when I get back in early February, we'll make a survey, come up with the locations like I did last year, where the focus areas, what needs to be cleaned up, and then adjust. But Larissa from the NER is my point of contact. She's committed to advertising like she did last year, and she ended up getting about 20 people there, so it was very
Good turnout.
effective.
Yeah.
And so we'll just coordinate with them and I'll work with Parks and Rec for both the city and the town on the split there to get the cleanup and, as far as work with the Parks and Rec folks to pick up all the trash that gets consolidated at the parking lots at Sparkle Lake and at Birch Plain Creek Parks, which is the starting points for the cleanup efforts.
Do you have a date yet for that? cleanup?
Not yet, that's what I'm saying, I'm gonna have to come up with a date, but working with Larissa, she said, get back to me, late January, we'll be selecting a date. She has to take a look at what the school calendars are, the availability, her staff people, and what looks like a good target, whether it's gonna be during last time, we've tried College people, we did it on a weekend.
Right.
Last year, we did it with they wanted it during the week because they used it as part of their startup process for their summer program. And that's got delayed till June, but they recognize that waiting that long makes it more difficult because of all the bloom
Or
involved
plant
with
life. right?
plant life and everything. So they recognize that they're going to move back to the April timeframe like we had from College. But then that's where they have to still come up with what their stuff is. So Marissa and I are in communications. We've made a commitment to, sometime I'll be making it, hopefully with at the February meeting, I'll be able to tell you what the date is. Because it's after the 20, when I get back at the end of the month.
So if the College students wanted to participate, not a project for
Yeah,
them.
not a project, but they can
But if they
participate.
wanted to participate
Right.
in the cleanup,
Right,
it should be during the time when they're
it
still
should
in
be during their
class.
period of time. So, but I don't have the exact date yet. I'll get that by the next meeting.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
I reached out to the CT Advocates for Trees. I wrote them a letter in regards of, we're offering support. Here are some ideas that we recommend to help, push for more trees in Connecticut. She responded and she is having her meeting today and she will follow up with me. She's going to read the letter to everyone and I'll hear back sometime this week, she said. And then she did, very last minute, she invited us to 2 events. Once tomorrow, it's the CT League of Conservation Voters. That's their annual meeting in Hartford. She didn't give me a time, but she says if anyone's interested to let her know. So if anyone wants to go.
Well, I've already signed up for that,
Oh,
but I'm not attending. I'm doing
Really?
the Zoom.
Awesome.
I'm doing the Zoom.
okay. Yeah, and the opening day of the legislator on January 8th on Wednesday. She says if anyone's interested, please feel free to come. But yeah, hopefully I should have more answers on February. That's all.
I had communication with GCA and they were very concerned about the fact that Jeffrey Pritchard was unsummarily not reappointed as head of planning and zoning, and it was kind of done sort of under the very under the radar. So they're very worked up about not so much the thing, but the process. And so they're having an all call for the meeting tomorrow night, the town council meeting, to address it, because he's been instrumental in some important environmental decisions in the community. So, I don't know if that looks like.
Didn't I also was copied on the GCA set, but I did not view that as a Conservation Commission communications to us,
No,
because I don't think we as a commission should
no,
intervene
yeah.
in.
I'm just briefing you on what.
Yeah, okay.
like
No,
what
no,
I've been
that's
looking at.
fine. Yep.
And yeah, I think that was the main thing.
No gardens being built in the winter, no winter gardens.
Winter garden.
Ice flowers.
Ice flowers, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Ice castles.
Let's see, there's an Earth Day planning meeting coming up in, I think, a week.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I won't be there. Kristen, are you?
I'm booked out.
I'm gonna go.
be out of town for like
Mhm.
4
Right.
months.
Okay. I've noticed a lot of year-end climate reporting is coming out. If there's anything that I find really compelling, I'll report that next month. And we've met with Andre Baumgartner, who is interested in reintroducing the climate bill from last year, HB 5004. So he's going to be advocating for that. He's vice chair. He's become vice chair of the Environment Committee as well.
Okay.
That's helpful.
So, and I am signed up for the League of Conservation Voters Environmental Summit.
What's that bill again? What's the number again?
I'm sorry.
What that House bill? What's the number again?
It's HB 5004. It's gonna, and that
I have
was,
a new number. I
That
know.
was the old one.
Yep.
Well, he said it's gonna have the same number. I don't know how they can
He can do
finagle
that.
that. He can't because it's a priority bill, but anyway. Thanks.
I just want to, I didn't attend anything per se, but I've been impressed with NEAR, the National Assyrian Research Reserve, work that they've been doing just to follow up what Tom was saying, that putting on the hat of Conservation Commission, POCD, coming up and looking at coastal resiliency and where we're going, and have been very impressed with grants that have been applied for and received. Since NEAR came on, has been established, there's been a lot of money to come in to do some research that people have talked about out there in the ether somewhere, but now it's actually starting to happen, and it's a lot of good stuff that's coming out of it for conservation purposes. And so there's, I think from a planning situation, it's evolving, and there's lots of things that they're studying right now that I would have thought would be in the plan that actually have made steps forward to moving ahead. So I just wanted to say that lots of good things that are happening out there along our coastline. And looking forward to see what the data is in the studies at the end of them.
Thank you.
The only thing I've done in the agenda.
Well, I just wanted to mention one thing. There was an article in the Day yesterday, I don't know if people saw it, about the oyster farming around here, the oyster, how it's having a really positive impact on the sound. It was a very long, very thorough, exhaustive article. They mentioned that the eelgrass is really recovered, so I can send it out if people need it, but it was really good.
In the Day, yeah.
Yeah, good article.
Okay. Open space inventories, the next item on the list. I guess, trying to remember the timing, we put out the letter, but that was before the December meeting? Our update to the town council?
Yeah, that was before, that was
No.
a few months before, a couple months before that.
Okay, I forget.
Yeah.
So we haven't done any updates or changes.
So there's been no update to the inventory. However, okay, what has come out is, and this sort of, it should.
The SCOG thing.
Yeah, the SCOG, this, the Southeast Connecticut Council of Governments, over the course of 22 or 23 and 24, went out and developed an open space plan, okay? It was approved, I think, in late this September, but it wasn't posted until after our last meeting, okay? And so I've had an opportunity to go through it. It's 383 pages long. It's, like 25 megabytes, so you can't email it around or anything. You have to go to their website to download it. But there's two parts to it. They, just like we did with ours, they have the document, and then they have their online inventory, and they've actually set up a new website and everything that's their open space inventory for the entire region, or for the whole, for all the towns in.
That doesn't include us, right?
Oh, yes.
It does.
Oh, it does.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Includes
Yeah.
Groton
South-
City,
Southeast, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
thinking
in
the
Seacog.
whole thing all the
Yeah,
way up to
Seacog, okay.
Wyndham, okay? I forget how many towns are in it's the COG and stuff, but it's the whole area. And so, but what the inventory, I ran the inventory, and what I found was that, they do two things. One is in the details, they have a whole section 5, which what they do is they embrace the state definitions like we have for the protected and preserved. But then what they did is they generated 5 additional subcategories,
No, no.
okay, of conservation lands, working lands, passive recreation lands, active recreation lands, trails and multi-use paths, and cemeteries, okay? I guess that's 6, okay? And then break they make their best guess of what goes into what category. So on the protected and preserved part, they're basically agreeing with us, 5,800, 5,900, because they take the city separately, okay, from us. So you have to add the city's 200 acres, and they don't account easements in there, okay? They just look at parcels. So the number that they have is very close to what we had from a snapshot perspective for last year. And then what they did is they break it up, but it doesn't add up to 5,800 acres.
Well, yeah, I was.
And so that's what they have in this, and what they do is then for each, they do this for each town, okay? And then they have a write-up for each town of about 8 pages. They have your breakout in it, and then they have a map of what they suggest is town-wide recommendations for recreation, and they come up with all this stuff in regard to continue to pursue like the Tri-Town Trail, extend existing Route 184 multi-use paths, collaborate with other managers of open space to assess maintenance efforts, and then implement the shoreline path bike project, okay? And then they go into a bunch of, so they have recommendations to the town that they would like to see from a regional perspective. And they also provide all the comments that they received from their outreach into the area. They had like 22 comments about the town of Groton, recommendations from general public people that they had gotten. So that's all in this report. And then they list all the points of contact and stuff, and who's doing what in the town of Groton. So
did they know about our thing when they put that together? Was that totally?
oh yes, I heard, they've got my name in here multiple times.
Got
and I could,
So
I
it
have
wasn't
to
done in a
say,
vacuum, it was done.
no, well, I
I
attended 2 of their sessions, and
Okay.
and then I made comments along the way. So they did take all our recommendations, but they went beyond them, okay, is how I would portray it.
I was gonna, yeah, right.
Okay, and so one of their recommendations was that as can be seen from the municipal open space statistics before, additional data collection or clarifications required to build out complete information for all the parcels in the COG's regional open space data set. So the question I have for folks is, should I be working with NOAA here to expand into these other COG subcategorizations? Because we don't have this in our inventory yet, but now we're out of sync with what the COG is doing and with the other communities. So I kind of this is the kind of stuff we talk about in this area. And I just toss this out for comments.
I kind of thought we were ahead of the other communities, number one. In terms of what the SCOG is doing. Like I said, I'm not, given from what I've seen, the accuracy from the other units is kind of suspect.
Yeah.
And then the bottom line is, what value does
what I
it
was gonna
provide us for those
Yes.
additional categories?
What would it help us?
It would help
Would it give
us.
us, would it give us any benefit to do that?
Well, these categorizations, I don't know how they're even developed, and I haven't spent a lot of time on this. I identified all this stuff, and I said, before I go any farther, I'm going to wait. Am I wasting my? This is not something that the commission wants to go pursue? I'm hesitant to go forward. So I didn't do a lot more research on this in regard to, making a projection as far as if I know about how much active recreational land versus trail multi-use paths and this kind of stuff. I don't know. There's some value potentially for grant information and supporting the COG. Other ways, I don't know what we would personally be using this information for. I think we've got a lot of efforts, but I don't see this as a significant effort on over. If I take this as a calendar year 25 project on just to do more columns in the database, in the inventory. So
far ahead of the curve compared to everyone else.
yeah.
So here's a regional group that's trying to put everyone in the same box. So you can do that, but just understand that this one's so thorough anyways. So like compared to other towns, it really is. And
They needed a stretch goal for us because we were so far ahead. They had to find something that's,
But
they had to find something that's more than what we already had.
More columns than.
Yeah, that's kind of my view is I think we have sufficient data, more than sufficient data for our purposes.
Right.
Right? And if if they come up with a reason on a specific grant opportunity that requires that segmentation, then I could say, okay, we could then invest the time to pursue that because we do have a lot of stuff there. It really is just another source, and so it's not that big a deal, but why do it if there's not a specific reason to do it? I'd rather invest our time, Tom's time,
Well,
and a few other
Unless-
exercises we need to do. So.
unless Tom can't resist the stretch goal.
Well, there's always that. I mean,
Just for the sake of argument, something like a cemetery, which technically.
We already have,
We
some
have
of the stuff I have.
Yeah,
Some
but
I
that's not really
this.
valuable
Right.
open space. It's mown, it's.
we have a lot of the categories. I mean, we
Okay.
do have schools, we do have
Yeah.
cemeteries. I mean, we have a number of subcategories that they have. There's a couple of strange ones, like the strange ones they have that we don't. They're embedded in what we have. It's just
Right, so
a,
active versus
Well, what
passive
they basically
recreation.
said was that they're trying to better categorize the PA 490 lands, which we have somewhat
We have
ignored.
yeah, we have. some.
We have a lot of 490 lands, but as far as utilize, it's in the database just as PA 490.
Right, we don't say what's.
Why it's there. And there's actually three categories of PA 490. You got open space, you got farmland, and you got this forest land. Okay, so there's different categories, depends on what size it is and everything else. And what they're trying to do is better categorize that stuff. So from that perspective, the focus is going to be on the PA 490 land, which we've to some degree ignored. I do have to say,
You can't resist. I can.
No,
see it right now.
Yeah,
I'm here right now.
Mom, you don't need our permission to
just-
play with this if you want to.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I would say that given that PA 490 has very little teeth in it to protect it,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to say we want to invest a lot of time. Unless there's a specific property that, we are interested in, then it becomes almost a project or something we'd work with GOSA or GSA or somebody to go after. But this is a generic thing.
Do you think they're trying to get data to support more protection of PA?
well, I think they're trying to line up with what, now, I haven't had an opportunity, the state issued a conservation and development policy last month, okay, or it's in draft right now, and they're looking
Right.
for comments coming up. I haven't had a chance to really get through that yet. I was gonna do that later this week. But I think they're trying to make sure that they're in line with whatever comes out of that policy and stuff.
I did a run through.
Why they even,
It was-
why,
it was
COG
generic.
previously didn't have this whole open space thing is new to them, okay?
Mm.
They're trying to, get more involved in this area. and-
Well, I mean, it's positive, but the thing is that the state has the records of which category is which. I
Yeah.
mean, so they, because it's a tax implication, so they
Yeah.
have to have the records.
Right,
So, they could get that data on a statewide basis without actually us doing it.
well, no, all I'm saying is I would correct they've already assigned some of it, okay, because of the no-brainer stuff, like the cemeteries and stuff, that's
Right.
about the right number and stuff. But some of these other categorizations is just try to, correct their database. They're basically asking for it here, so I really don't see that big a problem with it, but.
You're talking to yourself into doing this. so.
If it's something that one day we may say, oh yeah, we need that
Yeah.
and to do it retroactively, like if it's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Well, that's what I'm gonna talk to, is how much of a big deal is it with Noah, is,
Mm.
that's the real, as far as,
Yeah.
perhaps in talking
So,
to him.
look, I think the sense we're getting is, we're not asking you to do
Do
it
it.
as a commission activity.
Activity.
If
Right.
you wish to explore it
Okay,
because of your interest,
that's,
feel free.
okay.
And we'll be very happy that you did.
We'll all get credit.
Either way, Tom, either way, when you do.
It's
it,
a win-win situation,
No.
Tom. No matter what you do, you win.
Okay,
It's another tool that is out there now.
it's out there, yes.
Okay.
So and it's, I looked at it and I went, this is interesting. But you're right, I did have a hard time.
Yeah.
Trying to compare the two. It didn't match, but I did my quick numbers, but.
Right.
Oh, so any more on?
That's all I
inventory?
have on
Okay.
the inventory.
On open space planning. Let's see, oh, we had the Downs Patterson skip 490, the 490 property. Is there any additional discussion? I mean, I got to follow up with the attorney, but that you have on that particular property?
Only thing is I went and walked around on the property, even though the way I entered, I never saw
Isn't
any no
that private
trespassing signs.
property?
What?
Isn't that private property?
It's posted from 117, but if you come in from Candlewood Hill.
Yeah,
Just
okay,
on a nice road path, there's go lights, just you end up, if you happen to look at where you are, you'll see that you're on the property. But there is there's a network of trails in there, and there is some nice flat land along it's not that rocky and stuff, so I can see where they potentially could do developments. And it'd be reasonable. I went along with some folks from GOSA who are doing their annual review, because they, as the moderator for Candlewood Hill to the state, because they provided funding to them, they were assigned as to be the somewhat caretaker for Candlewood Hill. They have to give an annual report back to the state. So when we were doing that last month, we ended up on observing what was going on over at Downs Patterson, because that was a discussion area, a highlight put for them, because they have informed the state about this issue also. You know, it would be a potential split if they could subdivide the property to
Okay.
give portion to the state and or to some other, or whether it be state, GOSA,
Town
the
or-
town, whatever. I would be recommending that it all go to the state, because it just expand the wildlife management area, be probably the most reasonable thing to go do.
Has the subcommittee met? I know you have a new subcommittee. I'm assuming you guys have not met yet. Right? Okay, I'm just clear, right? Because part of the letter, you said we have a new subcommittee that's specifically for this.
What we offered,
Yes.
the structure was,
That
we would create a subcommittee to meet
Meet,
with you,
Right, right.
to have a formal interface.
Yep, I get it. I
Okay.
didn't know if.
So no, we did
Okay.
not
We
meet
didn't
as a
meet yet.
subcommittee because we had nothing to discuss, because we have no feedback. Again, I gotta follow up.
Yep.
I will follow up with him. All right, let's see if there's something there. Okay. I guess I didn't know where else to put it, but the discussion of plastic bags. You wanna
New
wave
business,
your-
new
oh,
business.
new business.
It's already new business.
So,
It should be
yeah.
new business. So you'll see it, we put it in the agenda on new.
Oh,
business.
okay, all right.
Bless her.
I will exit out there and put other new business. Keep me, Robert's Rules of Order, keep me
Right, that's right.
keep me correct. Next topic is Groton 2035, known as the P O C D. Let's see, so the availability of the Connecticut Conservation Development Policies Plan on page 43 and 44 have the objectives relevant to I guess they call it the P O C D, if you'll forgive me, Dave.
It's okay.
So out of that document, it's really the 2 pages that I thought was pertinent to it. And you guys were copied on it, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you. No, but I'm trying, now I'm getting confused.
What document
between
you
that.
talking about, Larry?
This is the State of Connecticut Conservation and Development Policies Plan.
Plan.
State of Connecticut.
Yeah. Now, do I have to forward that to anyone or? I mean,
Was it the attach, I'm just trying to remember the attachment that you sent in there.
oh, it wasn't that.
No, I thought it was attachment for, I thought it was more with the cog.
That was the cog thing.
Yeah,
not-
it's a
not
cog
that
thing.
thing. Yeah,
It
this
just had a
was,
link to it.
I'll do that. The bottom line is
Yeah.
There's not a lot, there's not a lot there. In other words, it's very generic, not really specific. And you go, okay, yeah, we looked at it, and I can't see any way that the royal we
Yeah.
of the town would not be addressing the areas they talked
We
about.
talked about it anyways, okay.
So, but it's, I guess it's just from FYI. Now, the other thing is that we did get a request from the Groton 2035 steering committee. What would be the?
So it's really not, I mean, you could do it however you want. I think because your group has already met with the consultant and actually was part of that, that tri-commission meeting. The reasoning behind that it was from the committee of chairs. Where other committees have not had a chance to chime in.
So fair enough, because when I got the questions, I went,
You already did them.
we already did
Yeah,
them.
exactly. So that's what
So-
I wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Like when you said that, so and John said, and so he sent it to me, I'm like, I'll just forward it to you. So and I figured you're like, all right, these are the questions that we answered. If there's anything you missed, there's still so much time to add in, but I think that, based upon the comments that came out of it, I think the majority of the issues that you
Well,
have.
yeah, we
highlighted,
were all there
Right,
and we all
exactly.
kind of addressed these questions, so.
It's not
There's not,
necessary.
okay,
anymore.
all right, that's,
If you wanted to, you could, but I'm not saying you need to do any more work for it
okay.
at this point.
I
Like I said,
appreciate not having to do work.
yes, I figured.
Okay. Unless someone, okay, not getting any volunteers.
No, I
to-
see that.
All
I
right.
figured that too.
'cause I started to answer the questions,
Sorry, I did. Wait, I already answered it.
but I said, no, I did, same answers I gave on the.
Right,
no.
exactly.
Right, unless we had something else that we forgot to mention it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we meant, I thought between all of us, I thought we
I
kind
think
of
we
hit.
I think
covered
you
things
did
pretty
too,
well, yeah.
But I mean, so, and like I said. There will
We
be
have time.
other opportunities to
That's-
highlight,
yeah.
like, so there's,
Okay.
you still have a ways to go.
That's good, that just saved us 10 minutes.
There you go. That's
Yay.
what I'm here for.
Moving on, 6.4 budget support. Well, I did mention earlier the view from Mark.
Mark, yeah.
Um,
And nothing, and just so you know, even from our perspective, nothing has been submitted yet. We're just putting stuff together right now. So there's nothing to even review or support at this point.
Now, no, we last time around made a specific input that says we are not requesting the $25,000 per year. Now,
We've seen that, yeah.
is that something that,
You need to reissue.
yeah, we need to restate or,
Potentially, but let me see what has been put for this instead.
or give it to Mark?
Yeah, no, yeah, well, that's
I
think the challenge with that, well, yes, yes, that's definitely a thing, and we will be getting another chunk of change to go on the open space one too.
Well, that's from the developers,
Yes,
which
exactly.
is by statute and.
I know it is. but
Okay.
I'm just saying
They
that,
can't
like,
futz with that.
I know you can't,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying, and that can't go to Mark.
Right. No, I already asked that once.
Yes, I'm just reiterating,
Okay. What are we
but
up to, by the way? We're at last 175, last I.
we're gonna add another 85,000.
Oh,
Wow,
all right, so we got a good $250,000. Now we're getting into
let's spend some money.
real money. Well, we need a. There isn't any property that would go for.
Larry, I'm
Right,
playing.
I know.
So
All right, so you're gonna,
I'll see where that is at. I'll check on that.
okay,
And see what I haven't seen anything for that at all.
okay. Well, that would be my suggestion is that we would, if it's being planned, because that's always been there, we would say, once again, we don't need it, but
Yeah.
we recommend that it be applied to the Parks and Rec for da.
And then when it gets closer, I think that recommendation would be.
Okay,
Well, this is, since you asked the question, I looked up the CIP budget display that was submitted for the current year budget. And for FY 25, which we're in right now, it was zeroed. But for the out years, 26, 27, 28,
Right.
29, and 30, it's still 25 still there.
so, which is fine. I mean, so we could, I mean, at some
So if
point,
we want to tell them we could get by without it, we should be submitting that to Mr. Burt. Like we did last time, and then
We did it last time, but it's still a little early, so we'll.
So, but we can do it any.
But I don't know if you want to take an action item to go talk to Bert. Again. Or send him an email.
What would be the
I'm
appropriate
thinking-
timing for
yeah,
that?
that-
Right now is
Well, I'm not asking you, I'm asking the staff.
It's
I'm
in
just-
it's in planning right now. So if you wanted something like that, you could, like I said, there's just nothing to support quite yet. But if you wanted to proactively say, you know,
Well, my
similar to
fe-
last year, we
Well, my fear is that if we do it now, it'll just disappear
could, yep.
versus if we wait,
Yep.
then the redirection has a little bit more
Mm.
gravitas. to it.
Absolutely.
So that kind of my inclination.
So they
So
think they're
table it.
spending it on this stuff and, oh, well, okay, we can put it over here then. You're hoping that happens, right?
Well, last time it just says in the budget display, there's a note says it's from the town manager that this funding has been recommended to be zeroed. Okay, which is,
The danger of zeroing it once is in the future, well, they didn't really need it.
well, no, but that's what I say, if you monitor the budget display, it's still out
Still
there.
there.
Yeah, it's still-
But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Okay, all right. I will do what we said. I will sit on it for a bit. Any other budget questions, comments? Okay. Vacant land review. Well, I saw
Yeah, what'd you see?
that they're doing a review on the school, and Conservation Commission isn't a participant.
Oh, with the review committee?
Yeah. And I guess the way they're doing it is they have a different makeup for every
Yeah,
parcel.
per property, yeah.
Well, I think the point would be, and right now is all the specific proposals are not public accessible.
No, I know.
That's what I didn't think. So at some point in the process where it becomes public, then I think as a Conservation Commission, we then can weigh in
You have more time, yeah.
on it. So we have some time on that. So it's-
Based upon, I can't even tell you how many come in, I don't even know actually, but
it sounded like 4 or 5.
something like that. But basically, those are, I think the consultants are being interviewed in the next week or two. And the hope is by end of January, early mid-February, there'll be a recommendation that's sent to the council of the preferred.
Now, will that be public?
I think, I don't know. I think so, but I mean, once they choose. I think
There's
that-
got to be a public hearing.
Yeah,
I'm just
there's another
saying,
public hearing coming in.
is that prior to the public hearing, is it going to get down to like 1? Or are we going to be able to weigh in on an option
I don't,
or 2?
I don't know. John Ryan would be the best person to talk to about that. All I know is that's what he told me today.
Okay, email to Reiner.
But as far as I know, from what I understand, they're narrowing it down to 1 to basically present to the council that this is their preferred, based upon the interviews and the the proposals. This is our qualifications. This is
Alright.
our preferred developer.
All right.
But you can confirm with him. He'll tell you.
Yes, I
tell you what
think
you
I'm
can.
gonna read
Yeah, well,
out.
as much as I know, it's because a lot of the stuff you can't,
I understand it. I wrote down process. I'm gonna ask a process question, not a,
and this is for Groton Heights. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're specifically talking about the review committee for Groton Heights right now. And then Pleasant Valley School,
is,
those are due on January 21st, and it'll go through a similar
process, right?
with a different review team.
so that's, yeah, so I want to ask a little bit about the process.
Is the review team looking, are they looking at proposals from developers?
Yeah,
Or,
I mean,
I mean, what is actually going on in the review has to be?
that's really an
kept quiet?
economic development question more than from the planning side of things. At this point, it's what was submitted, so I don't know. I don't know I don't even know what was submitted, so I can't even.
But there were RFPs that were
Yes.
requested and the responses
right,
are
yeah.
in and those are being evaluated by the
Exactly.
team. And we're not a member of that team. I think that's all
Okay.
we're
I
saying.
tried.
Isn't this what the public's getting so upset about, like over and over and over again, that something kind of plunks in at the town council, like, oh, this has already been kind of chosen and decided with no public input. It sounds like this is just the
There's-
same process.
There's so much public input for this,
Is
you
it?
know, compared to the past, so
Mhm.
there is another big public hearing and, you know, so talk to
bef-
Larry. Larry's been through this whole thing and
Months and months and months.
exactly,
Before the project is chosen.
yes.
Yeah, well, it does get a little tricky because there is a privacy side.
There is a privacy side.
And a public side. It's gotta be a little careful. That's why my interest would be is not necessarily come out with one, but maybe
2 or 3.
two.
I don't know if that's.
I understand it. I'm going to lobby to say, don't come out with one, because then
It doesn't look right.
it doesn't, yeah. But anyway, that's my view. I will reach out.
All right.
Okay. Connecticut.
Yay.
Project.
So, school is about to start. So for, Anne and Giselle, the meeting that we will have with the students is February 3rd, which is the same day as our next meeting.
Should
So,
we revamp that meeting to be for them and have another meeting for our normal business?
no, this is where we go to the school and talk to the students about the projects.
Okay, the subcommittee, not.
The subcommittee,
Okay,
yes,
not- not-
Yeah, so,
okay.
so Jen totally agreed with the project. She loves them. So we don't have to do anything to change our request to them. She will, send it to the students with her, background information that she now knows how to do because we've done it twice. So the students will have seen ahead of time the list of projects, and then we will meet with them, give them more details, answer their questions, and then have them decide the projects.
So that's gonna happen before 5 o'clock on the 3rd?
Mhm.
Okay, so you'll be.
So
able
it's
to-
like 11 o'clock. So I will send you guys, I mean, as the last time I talked to Jen, she still didn't have what her classroom was. So I couldn't tell you much, but it's just on campus. We could probably, I would say park by the Arboretum outside the campus again and meet there and walk in, because the parking is even worse now than it used to be, because the one place where you could park, they're redoing that. So there's less parking. So visitors don't have a good option for parking, but you can park on the street outside the gate by the Arboretum, and it's fine. So I will plan on, I'll, tell you what time to meet me there.
Yeah.
And then we'll walk together to the classroom, and you can meet Jen. You've met Jen.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably plan on us getting there about half an hour before class starts to give us time to meet and to, talk to her and whatever. So that's gonna happen February 3rd. And then the one question she had, which I think we already kind of decided, we need to confirm with the students, that we want them, she won't be out of town during the Earth Day thing. But that doesn't mean the students can't participate. They may need to get rides or whatever. We'll figure that out. But basically this year, we unofficially happened last year, but we make it official that they must present their project at the Earth Day Fair. So that means they all have to be completed by towards the end of April and not be waiting until the last week of class to finish their project. Yes.
Has Anne or anybody run that by Jason? Because he's very specific about who is and is not permitted in the fair. Like when last year they wanted a homeless representation. Nope. It's strictly about, action items towards, and the theme this year is energy. So, he may or may not be friendly to that idea. I think that ought to be cleared when you find out what the projects are.
When you say present it, is
Yeah, what does
it,
that mean?
is it?
I mean, they just have a table
Yeah.
where the
with
students,
with trifold on
right,
it.
the students sit at the table and
Yeah.
have their trifolds.
And then
It's
people
just-
can,
But I'm
Yeah,
just saying
we
he's-
could, we should run
He's
it
rather
by.
particular about like, it's a very targeted themed fair. So it can't just, I would just run it by him.
Okay.
When you have the specific projects.
Well, honestly, I want that as their deadline anyway, so it doesn't matter whether we're allowed to put their trifold at the project or not. But, so I don't think we need to check ahead of time. I think we just need to,
plan for it.
make that part, they should be prepared to present their project by the end of April,
On college zone,
right?
part of which is
Mhm.
definitely in the mission, and if some of it's out of the mission, but if it's all under one umbrella,
Right.
it's probably gonna sneak by.
Yeah, and especially since he makes use of those students quite heavily, so I could bet they could get a bit of a waiver to have a trifold on a table somewhere.
Table, to your
Right.
point,
Yeah,
not some specific.
Right, right.
Aspect, yeah.
yeah. But anyway, but the point is that we're gonna have that as part of the requirements,
Yeah.
Okay,
that they're ready to
then-
present,
Versus waiting. till June
waiting,
or
giving it
July.
open-ended, oh yeah, it
Yeah.
has to be done by the end of classes. So, and then the other thing is for the final meeting, we're talking about the first week in May again, the first Monday in May. So basically it's when our normal meeting would be. And that's the one, Larry, where we can decide, do we have a special meeting that's just them or have that be part of the meeting and, have a special meeting another day. So that decision does have to be made, but not right this second.
Okay, so in
So
April, we need to make this.
I would say by March, yeah.
March.
Yeah, that way we have it on the schedule and everything.
That's May 5th.
Yeah, right. So we can talk about that with Jen when we're there next month to confirm the presentation date, because that needs to be in their planning as well.
Right, so for the February meeting, given the fact that we've already published the projects in our agenda, in prior agendas, because I'm thinking of the timing, they're doing it that day,
Oh.
but it's just a status, it's not new material per se.
Right,
Yeah, I mean, you can do it however you like to do. I mean, we can republish it again. And just take that whole if that list is finalized and hasn't changed since you
Right,
presented
and
it.
that's what we just heard.
We can just present it back again, so it's part of the agenda, and then
Yeah.
even if it's like you circle the 5
That-
projects that get chosen or what.
right,
Okay,
right.
all right, well, let's do that, because it didn't change, so.
Right.
right,
all
yeah, yeah, nothing about the list changed.
I
But
just
then it's-
didn't want to have, somehow you have to have something for the agenda when you
Right.
can't. 'cause of
Well, right,
24 hours.
yeah, we won't know anything until,
And then this way,
Monday.
it'll be. So you all have the it'll be the same copy, but you won't have to go back.
and find
until
it,
the agenda's
right,
out.
fine, It'll be
Mhm.
part of that, so.
okay. So that's the exciting news. And she's really excited about those library things that the Go Groton stuff that we talked about. That's probably gonna be a real top. I'm excited by those things, so we'll see what the students think about them, but I'll be surprised if they don't go for the library backpack thing. We'll see.
The next one is the open space stewardship. Back to Michelle
Right.
again.
So I don't have the plan finalized because I have 2 questions that came out of the Parks and Rec thing that I wanted to discuss with the group before I finalized it. And the one question, it seems simple, but I don't think it is. They recommended that we have points of contact in the plan. And I don't think that sounds a good idea because people changed it, whatever. So I guess my question is either not have anything there, or is there a generic, and this is more for Dave, is there a generic Parks and Rec email or Parks and Rec number that like we could put in there that, because it says, contact this person. Well, obviously we give them that, we'll give Tabitha's number to people once they're in the program. We don't need to have that in the plan. But is there a generic number
It'd
or,
be an office of Parks and Rec.
right, is there some kind of generic contact we can put in there for the,
I would actually suggest emailing Tabitha back specifically for that. She's gonna
Okay.
give the best person, and it could be
Okay.
like the secretary at Parks and Rec, that would handle it there, and it could be the main
Okay.
number. And they may have a generic one, but I can
Okay.
find out, but it might be better to say, listen, this is what we're
Okay.
afraid of, that,
right,
job titles may change, but who's the best way for us to get for these people to contact? I think it's
Okay.
pretty simple.
all right, I'll ask her. And then the second thing is a little more complicated. And basically in all the places that has to do with documentation and feedback or whatever, she wants us to have an app for people to use, which I think is a great idea. But it has to be developed, right? And so Larry, if I understood your feedback, it's like, well, just put in the plan itself, yeah, use the app. But I'm resistant to publish use the app if there's no app. So
Well, we're gonna catch 22 because we don't have development dollars to develop an app.
Maybe
we-
some of that 25 grand.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
Can we
no,
use that
are
money?
apps out there already that already exist that I've a number of them out
Tracking
there.
and
Yeah, that do, it depends on what you want, but what we
But you
should
have
be
to
doing
adapt
is
it to-
coordinating with what Parks and Rec is already doing, because are they shifting to, I think, again, it's a question back to Tabitha. Are they looking at developing or selecting, an app, paying the subscription, they run a couple $100 a year or whatever to maintain the subscription perspective. If she's already doing that, then we would just be tagging on. Can we get coordination to tag on to her, whatever subscription that she's utilizing for the town?
I didn't get the impression she had something in mind.
I don't think she had
wanted us
anything
to,
set up
I think
yet.
she wanted us to create it, is what I think.
We're not gonna create an app.
Right, and that's my point, is I didn't want to use
Right.
that wording.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that in our meeting, because when we had the
No.
meeting with her, we
Right,
didn't,
that did not come up.
that did not come up. but-
And I would have had the same thing, is that we are not structured to fund, develop, or, I mean,
Do
we
anything
could,
with it, right?
we could. I wouldn't have a problem writing an objectives for such an app,
Right,
but we cannot own an app because we have no funding.
yeah,
and no
but there
budget.
are so many already out there to do
Right,
exactly
But
this.
you'd still have to have it linked to
Yeah,
our.
and somebody has to
our
pay
I mean,
to
there has to
maintain it.
be, developed to fit our specific application and. Yeah, okay, so that's why I didn't want to try to finalize this thing, because I don't want to say use the app when there isn't one.
Unless you say, if it available.
Yes, I-
Available.
If an app becomes available, then.
Yes,
use it.
I would still
And
think, make
can
it
you update
generic,
this? Yeah.
and
Which you know what it is.
enough to says. Either A, we can find one on the street
Yeah.
and recommend it, or B, if they want to fund it out of the Parks and Rec, then, then.
All right,
make
let me,
one. But regardless, it still would be, an
yeah,
app is recommended.
right.
Avalonia is using one, for example, okay, they have a subscription and that kind of stuff, so.
All right, let me,
Work out.
I'll get back to her and either get a definite from her or make it generic. And I have to see with her comments whether generic meets her comments. I think I mean, honestly, it made it sound like that, this has to be electronic. And I'm thinking, okay, how do you plan on doing that?
Well,
So-
they gotta put their money where their mouth is.
Exactly.
You can't ask
Right.
us to do something that we don't have.
Right, we're not
to do.
we're an executive, we don't execute things like that.
Yeah.
All
we're
right.
an advisory group, not a.
Right, okay, so that was, those were the
Notwithstanding
things
some of
that,
the
those
stuff
were my
that
sticking
people-
points, so I will, I'll get back to her with both of those and see what kind of response I get.
Okay. Outreach,
We canceled outreach.
we did still on.
That's a focus area.
Oh, we left it on the
We left it
agenda
on
in
the-
We
case
left
there's
it on
anything
the agenda
interesting.
specifically,
on-
just to discuss if there's anything going
If there's
on, we
anything,
would bring it
so
up.
No update.
Yeah, most of it comes up during the report of the commission, but
Okay. The next item is the tree advisory board. I believe in the agenda is the letter.
Yep.
That we sent, no, that Mark,
That Mark sent back.
that Mark sent back.
We have Giselle's letter, which we talked about before, and I.
Well, that, yeah, that was to the
And then we had
Connecticut
Mark's response. letter.
thing, two separate things, so. Not my preferred response from Mark, but on our letter. But it is what it is, and so I think I guess we should discuss it. But my recommendation is. Since it goes back to the town manager. To actually make the decision, so it's not Mark's decision per se, not our decision per se. And the town manager has our letter. And he has Mark's letter. So I would say, okay, what do you want to do? Then even if he says that. I mean, good luck trying to find an arborist to do volunteer work for the town.
Well, I don't, that's not. From talking with Mark, it's not to find a arborist to do volunteer work for the town. It's to have a professional arborist on the commission to talk big picture stuff, to say, hey, listen, town, you need to do this.
Then that's just
that-
what it sounded like, getting a free arborist.
No, it's not getting a free arborist.
Well,
It's-
no,
it's not-
what I read it is that the arborist would be on the commission, so he had to show up here. Is he proposing that he's gonna be paying this guy to come to every meeting?
That's
I
why.
mean, that's up to Mark, but no, like they.
That's what's free.
Well, then it's free, so.
That's
yeah,
right.
But not to do the work. Like this arborist is not gonna sit on the commission, on this tree advisory board and then go, okay, you're gonna go out tomorrow and do the work for this.
How about the
Okay.
forester? Where
I
are they
don't know,
gonna
this-
find a
this-
forester? to come in?
This is all coming recommendations from the
Yeah,
consultant.
which are great recommendations. We came in from a pragmatic point of view. That said, for example, how many open positions are currently there, across all the existing commissions? I mean, if it wasn't for you, 2 months ago, we would have had an open position. So. All right, well, I guess my recommendation is to, let's see what what he comes back with. Any idea on when he might respond, or is that part of the budget process?
I think it's gonna be part of that, budget process and, next steps in terms, they haven't even done a formal presentation to the council yet about the tree management plan, so I don't know if that's, sounded like something's gonna come out to talk about the project, so that might be at that time, and if I remember back last year, that was that long ago, he was mentioning it would happen sometime this year, sometime in the, late winter, springtime.
Okay, I had to switch this year meeting.
I know, yeah, I know.
2025. It took me a second to catch up. Wait a minute, this year, wait, what?
Larry, I didn't think I was gonna trick you.
Oh.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add as our designated tree advisory person
No,
or
just.
tree person?
I do have a question.
Yes.
I really like the letter and all that kind of stuff, but when in your discussions, did the advocacy group say that they recognize the stuff going along I-95 and that they're advocating that the Department of Transportation have a more more expansive definition? Because when I go look at their policies, we're clearing 30 feet on either side for all these safety reasons and for all these trees that are coming down and all that kind of stuff. But they don't talk about, from a resilience perspective and a carbon sequestration perspective, they ignore all that. And so as far as on how they're replanting and stuff, did they go into that at all when you were talking to as far as are they advocating for that at the state? I'm just wondering if we should be more proactive on our advocacy to update, because the way this works is that back in 2007, the state issued a general statute that forced the Department of Transportation to outline how they handle cutting trees along all the state right of ways. Okay, and that response came out with a guidelines that says, that nobody can cut them down unless it's a state employee or you have a permit that's issued by the Department of Transportation. Okay, that was to stop all this haphazard, everybody, different towns going after things and all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't talk about, and it gives you all these nice rules as far as you have to go so many feet away and all this kind of stuff, and you can keep certain ones if it was for this kind of reason or whatever. But they don't talk, but there's nothing about the replacement of the trees and any guidelines as far as on how we're going to make up for the lost carbon sequestration that we're throwing away literally. Yeah.
30
Well,
feet and run it like
yeah,
miles and miles.
Miles and miles.
Yeah,
And
so it does seem that this is a new group.
Right.
That would be something.
they
that
could be
should-
advocating
Right.
for. And that's what I just want to, okay, but that's how I would be recommending that, when your follow-up calls and that kind of stuff, as far as what they should be pushing for not necessarily at the state level, it gets, with a big hammer, but for advocating to the Department of Transportation, what are you doing here? Because I know that they're focused on building bridges and they're doing a great job here. We're getting our fair share here in Groton, down in Long Point and all this kind of stuff. So, they're doing their share and when they've got this complete street stuff and they're improving all that stuff. But, so the DOT is very focused on the roads themselves. And they got this thing going, they, contracted it all out, and they're still cutting today. I saw them along 95.
Piled by the road.
Yeah, and, but what are they doing, from a conservation perspective?
I wonder if
And-
that would be a question for Andre, since he's.
Well, that,
probably
he could
giving-
be asking that question as far as that, but he doesn't have, this is where there's a divide where you end up with the transportation people being over here and the deep people being over here, and it's
Yeah.
falling in between the two, okay? And that's where,
There have,
Environment Committee.
yeah, the Environment Committee has discussed bills like that in I think it was 2 years ago now. So it wouldn't be, something
Yeah.
that they
It's
wouldn't
just
be.
yeah.
because
open
I
to
read the
doing.
legislation, it was very generic, it sort of just have a plan and all this kind of stuff, so we can understand what your rules are, you can see them in writing and stuff. But
Yeah.
now there's, but you don't get to comment on it or ensure that there's some other stuff in it, so that's the thing I would be advocating for as far as you have follow-on discussions and stuff.
This came up when Deep took 150 trees out of a state area and
Mhm.
people were, what are they doing to replace them?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I don't think they're doing
None of the
squat.
bills that were proposed made it past the committee.
yeah,
There was too many issues at that point, but yeah.
yeah, I don't know if this is the right year, I mean, this is the
I
year
know.
that you'd be putting new stuff in, because they always got elected, so you can put new bills in, but it's another 2 years before you can put something else on. That's kind of say, are we advocating for the legislative side or from the, just shaming
side,
DOT
right.
into doing something?
I'll definitely do a follow-up.
Okay,
I like that. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. 7, new business. Plastics, whip out that bag,
Here we go again.
whip out that bag.
okay, the reason I asked for this to be put on the agenda was that I was out of town here and I got one of these bags, okay? Now, to be brutally honest with you, this is not from a place in Groton here. I actually brought this from Cleveland, but but what was interesting is that this is a considerate, it reads here, avoid danger of suffocation, keep this plastic bag away from babies and children. Obviously, this is that same thin stuff. You can pass it around and go feel it and stuff, but it's fully compostable. So it means it's gonna biodegrade. Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question. Does our ordinance include these bags? If somebody was to bring these, I haven't found anybody that's using these, but a lot of people have shifted over, even CVS, I noticed, shifted over to, get rid of their
This is
plastic bag.
For both commercial and backyard composting.
Right, yes, that's what I'm saying.
You need to try it.
I'm just,
I mean, seriously.
I'm just asking that's kind of like, I guess you put the
there's-
ordinance in here. Would this, how are you, if somebody came in and they were using this bag, how would you, our enforcement officer, react to this?
I don't know.
Bags that
I
Okay.
actually really don't know because like most of the compostable, like even you see the compostable plates, the corn ones, and they are not. We're talking a heavy duty commercial grade.
Well, so they would be once we have a commercial composter, right?
But that's, yeah, but it's not like, the problem is that people see compostable, like, oh, I have a
They
compost
think-
thing in my backyard,
right.
I can put it there. And like, why does it never break down? Because it's not, you're never gonna get the temperatures you need to actually break it down.
Industrial.
Backyard though.
This one
I mean,
does.
there's a spec on there, like ASTM, some kind of.
Yeah, ASTM,
Something is
And maybe that's, yeah.
compatible, so it might be interesting to.
Well, I'm just saying, it should, I'm just trying to be a little proactive here.
Yeah.
When I saw this, I said, well, golly, is our ordinance, how does this meet up with our ordinance? And how would we react to this if somebody brought them into our town? Because
It
you
doesn't
can buy
have
these on
specific
Amazon.
plastic
I know,
types in the
I did find that
ordinance.
out.
I'm trying
As I
to.
recall.
I'm trying to remember, yeah.
I think if it's truly
Well, yeah.
compostable in the backyard, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna allow the introduction of this, the question is, what is the waste stream that this is gonna get put into to get recycled, to be compost? And that's,
Mhm.
There is none.
And
There is
how
none.
can
That's the problem.
they
It's so
separate
flying
this
out
from
in the
another
freaking
bag?
air,
Yeah.
or wind up
Well,
in
a
the
regular
water.
plastic
Right,
bag
yeah.
is this bag.
So it doesn't,
So who's gonna be
it
sorting?
doesn't actually help.
Right.
because it's
Gets
com-
mixed up, right?
I mean, in our ordinance, we allow for, if a piece of fish is wrapped or a vegetable, like, that's still allowed.
Right,
This might fall in that category, I don't know.
no, it clearly is.
It's more of a shopping bag.
Yeah, with the handles.
They have
Yeah.
them all over the country, yeah.
It's deceptive because there's a lot of grocery stores that are selling those compostable plates and they are not compostable.
I agree.
No,
It's easy to put a stamp on
Yep,
something.
and you charge
Mhm.
twice as much and people say, look, I'm doing good. I
Yep.
can compost, I can put this in my trash and it's gonna be compost at the landfill.
No.
it's not.
Nope.
Nope.
But I will say, like, since we passed that ordinance those years ago, like, I go to other places and you do still see the plastic bags in the trees. We've
We
eliminated
don't
that.
see many here.
And
Yeah.
most people
I
here are bringing their own bags, and that was kind of the objective, bring your
Yeah.
own bag when you go shopping, so,
Yeah.
so this may be somewhat moot in that people have the habit now of bringing their bags, so.
I agree.
I still think that people are, there will always be people that are gonna ask for a bag.
Yeah.
And,
Well, but they're paper.
Yeah.
In this-
Mostly paper.
Or the heavy.
Or
Or
that-
those
yeah.
really
the
heavy.
Heavy
Or the-
reusable
yeah.
bag. Well, they don't blow around as easily, I
True.
guess. And it costs more, so
I know.
Every once in a while, I kind of want one of those thin little bags, and I don't have, I used to have a whole stash of
I
them,
know.
they're all gone.
I have a stash.
I still have.
I used to do that too. Yeah, rip it off. Okay.
Bring it from out of town.
So bring it from Cleveland.
They're still available in Boston.
Okay.
Back to Cleveland.
Any other discussion? Can you give me back?
I have one, I think just to follow up on the plastic, I think at the time when we
I'll
passed
give
the
Tom,
ordinance,
give
there
me-
was awareness.
You
I
can
think
keep
the
it.
awareness has slipped away. So I know a couple of years ago, Liz and I went to a lot of restaurant or just to see who was complying, who wasn't. And we found some non-compliance, but I mean, is anybody following up on that? It was sort of voluntary report non-compliers, but I think new businesses don't even know.
Anytime,
Styrofoam's not allowed.
we've said before, and I think the last time you brought this up, I don't know, a year and a half ago, it was same thing. If you're out and you see this,
Report
you
it.
send it right to Tom, and
Yeah.
Tom will go out there and basically it's not a enforcement action, it's a education piece, I'm not sure you're aware, we have this plastic ordinance, and oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, we're new here,
Yeah.
so that's how it's handled.
Yeah.
And he has the stuff that has been forwarded on, he's followed up with, I know he has, yeah.
Okay.
Has he had, is there been a change from year to year at all about violations?
No, I mean, they're very, again, it comes back to how many people are actually reporting.
Nobody reports it.
It's next to none anyway, so, I last time he said, he's like, I think I've gotten 2, or what, it's a small number. Like, people more worried about blight and other things than they are about if they.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty much under control. I mean, I go out there and I don't see much to report.
Right.
Quite frankly, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
Which is what the experience of other municipalities found.
Yep.
When they did it, but remember all the hoorah
Yeah.
stuff? That's kind of what happens. People get used to it, new level set.
That
everything's
behavior
fine.
change.
I guess the only other comment I can is I can go get a plastic bag at the base. Also, because that's a federal facility, they don't want to fly.
Mhm.
Should be shaming.
Go after, go after the feds.
I
How
know
dare
exactly.
they? They know they're in violation.
Somewhere, right?
Oh,
You gonna shame them?
yeah, I don't know, Tom. It seems like, a docent ought to raise that issue.
I'd rather stay out of that.
Oh.
I just asked,
Okay.
you asked where you can get them.
Okay. New business. 7.2, our yearly election of officers.
I nominate Larry Dunn
uh,
for chair.
I nominate Ray Rafferty for vice chair.
I nominate Michelle Fitzgerald.
Do you want to ask if anyone's interested in a position before you nominate people?
Sure, so Anne, Kristen, Giselle, Tom, are any of you interested in any of these positions?
I'm fine.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, see, then we did it. So you asked, so that's it.
We checked the boxes.
That's right.
Well, there's a motion on the floor for the officers for 2025.
The motion was by
Me.
Kristen, right? Where's the second yet?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom.
To basically retain the
The same,
same
yep.
slate of officers. We'll do a vote rather than.
So why
Objection.
not,
Yeah, you
all
should
in
do.
favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I object.
Yes, you can. It's still gonna carry even if you object. so.
Oh, all right.
Plus, you already agreed.
I'll agree as well, I guess. Won't do this forever, guys.
what I was saying. That's why you ask for, is anyone interested?
Such a good
Well, if
job,
you,
though.
Larry, if you ever wanted out of that position, you have to lobby ahead of time to get someone else wants to take it.
Just aspirate.
Just saying.
No
You don't wait
comment.
till the election, the day of the election, and then say,
Yeah,
oh, I'm
yeah,
not sure I want to do this anymore.
That's not fair.
That's not a good way to
that's a
do
good point.
business.
That's a good point. Report of staff.
I think you should have all gotten a email about our next community conversation is gonna be on January 29th at Thrive.
Correct.
The topic is going to be hot topics, which are, if any of you follow the forum, the Groton Community Forum, there has been a lot of stuff up, a lot of things like another car wash, oh, another gas station. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
there is a big misperception out in the community about how things actually get approved. And so a lot of the discussion is going to be around understanding that better and how to, and really a lot of it comes down to Groton 2035. You want things to change, and like right now, we have, and I know I've said this to you in the past, and I know several of you have heard this at meetings, like when you have a commuter rate of 82%
80,
in
right.
town, and people aren't staying here and eating here, then you're gonna get things like gas stations and car washes and stuff like
Oil
that.
lube
Well,
change.
yep,
thing,
exactly. So I mean, that's, so things have to change, and it's all a balance, but that's, we've heard a lot from that, on a lot of different angles, and we want to, I mean, for any of you who are on Facebook, you know how it functions. It's all about how can I get the most likes about and make the most outlandish comments and on there, and then cause everyone else to jump off a bridge and say the same exact thing. So we're doing the best that we can to do that. You may have seen that we put out John and Deb put together an update, I think it was like early December, about just everything that's happening in town in terms of development. It was something that John Bird had asked for. And basically was posted on the town, not on the community forum. It did eventually make it there, went on the town's Facebook page, and was forwarded out from there. And that, the plan is to keep going with that, so people are, understand what's coming. We're not trying to hide anything or anything. We're trying to be very transparent about this, and but to kind of deal with a lot of the misinformation that's out there about what's happening and what, and it's funny. I get it. Like, another car wash, yeah. But there's a lot of reason behind that and how things happen, and just the fact that, like I said, if you really read into it, you guys would be blown away. In terms of what they're saying about other commission members and just, like, there's a lot of misperceptions out there, both at staff and at.
No,
commission members.
those car washes do generate tax dollars.
They do, absolutely.
So that's a way of extracting from the commuters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tax dollars. So either you gotta get them to live here to get the tax dollars, or you gotta extract it for things that they do when they're
And they're
here.
here, exactly.
That's,
They're not all gonna make it, most likely.
And
One of my great frustrations when I moved here is there are no car washes.
yeah, and now you're like, oh my
Now
God,
it's
too many.
abundance,
Yeah.
yeah, and you're right. There was one that
Yeah.
I knew of.
And
now there's-
Groton is not the only there's so many other communities in
Oh, yeah.
Connecticut, in Rhode Island, and Massachusetts that are having the same thing, because as you probably have noticed, like even just streaming services, that's how they get you. You have a monthly fee, so on car washes. So car washes have the same kind of gym memberships. They're all very similar, and that's a model that's working with today, with the world we live in. So
You can wash your car as much as you want for just
whatever,
$20 a month.
A month,
or
exactly.
Whatever it is, yeah.
and free vacuums. So, but whatever. I mean, that's just like those, we really want to get the community to understand better what the process is, how to get involved. And if this is something you really don't want to see, then you have to you just can't go and complain when it's there. You need to, be there at the time when we're going through the whole Groton 2035, what the future of our community looks like, what do we really need, and go from there. So that's what we're going to be talking a bunch about. So, and that's what I got.
All right.
She's waiting. See, I know.
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Exactly.
All right, without objection.
All right.
Adjourned at
Woo!
6:25.